This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. It's time for my take on Michael Cohen and how he's doing. Let me lead off with, after 8 hours of cross-examination by Todd Blanche in a very confusing cross-examination, which is usual for somebody who hasn't tried a case in the last 7 or 8 years, which is Todd Blanche. I don't think he's tried a case actually with a jury in the last 5 years, and the rust is showing. Todd Blanche got so frustrated that he started, for no apparent reason, I'm sure the jury was confused, started yelling at Michael Cohen about something so simple as a phone call 8 years ago and whether Michael had perfect recall about the phone call to Donald Trump or not, and got very frustrated. And it really was just, it wasn't then, it was an accumulation of Michael successfully counterpunching Todd Blanche over the last 10 hours in a way that Michael was not able to do, frankly, in the New York Attorney General case. I'm going to talk and compare and contrast the two, and then talk about why Todd Blanche blew up today, mainly because his entire career is on the line. He left his major swanky law firm where he had a cushy job, making a lot of money, to go take on one client, Donald Trump. And he's got one major thing to do in this case. He did a 20-minute opening statement, which I thought should have went on for at least an hour and a half on behalf of Donald Trump, making promises to the jury he can never keep. And then his big moment out of 19 witnesses is the cross-examination of Michael Cohen, and it's not going well. And so you see the frustration. It's sort of like when you're watching a basketball game and the other side is losing and they get frustrated and they throw the basketball, once or twice at fans in the stands because they're really upset. That's what happened to Todd Blanche today, when he yelled at Michael Cohen over a call made 8 years ago by Michael Cohen because Michael Cohen didn't have perfect recall of the conversation he had with Donald Trump. He had the gist. I believe that I told Donald Trump about the fact that I had resolved the Stormy Daniels issue, and she would not be going to the press about her sex act with him, and he was pleased. And Todd Blanche, I'm sure the jury was as confused as I was, yelled out, "Oh, the jury doesn't care what you think. The jury wants to know what you know." I mean, I guess if you'd wandered in from outside and hadn't seen any other part of the 12 hours of cross-examination, you might think, whoa, this must have been going on for a long time, this back and forth and cat and mouse between Todd Blanche and Michael Cohen. But not really. Michael's been the cat in the cat and mouse so far. When Michael gave his testimony before the Judge Engoron in the New York Attorney General case, which brought down and brought low Donald Trump to the tune of $465 million judgment, he did okay. It was like, as I've said before, it's like a gentleman's B minus. He was a little bit confrontational. He was a little bit argumentative in all of that. He was not answering the questions before Judge Engoron. He was getting a little bit speechifying. And overall, he seemed a little bit shrunken. Not so in the Trump case, in this criminal case. Michael has been waiting for this moment, as we all know, for the last 10 years. And he is ready to tell the truth to this jury. And he knows, nobody knows the baggage that Michael carries around with him, having pled guilty to a couple of crimes, more than Michael Cohen. So if Todd Blanche thought he was going to embarrass Michael Cohen, Michael Cohen knows his own life story better than anybody. And the Manhattan DA and Michael's lawyers have prepared him for this moment. And so by contrast to the New York Attorney General case, Michael's been confident. Michael has counterpunched appropriately. Michael has, and I've met Michael and I've been on Michael's show, of course. Michael has a certain charm, has a certain a suaveness about him that the jury, by people that are there, seems to like Michael Cohen. And that's not sitting well with Donald Trump and Todd Blanche. They don't want a jury to like Michael Cohen. This episode of Legal AF is brought to you by Manukora Honey, also known as the honey with superpowers. Let me share something sweet with you. And I mean really sweet. It's something that's become a staple in my routine, and I think you're gonna love it. I'm talking about Manukora Honey. When I say honey, you might be picturing those bear-shaped bottles at the supermarket. But that's not what this is. Manukora honey is single origin, rich, creamy, and the most delicious honey you've ever had. It's supercharged with unique antioxidants and prebiotics and has 3 times more than your average honey. Manukora honey supports immunity, aids digestion, boosts energy, and helps balance inflammation. It's a game changer, and all you need is 1 to 3 teaspoons a day. On top of that, Manukora honey has a natural antibacterial compound called MGO, only found in Manuka honey. So if you're looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine, we found your new healthy habit. Now it's easier than ever to try Manukora honey with the starter kit. Just head to manukora.com/legalaf to get $25 off. The starter kit comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, plus a guidebook. Now, I love the jar and squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or need a quick snack running errands. And they are the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym. That's manukora.com/legalaf to get $25 off your starter kit. This is the ultimate honey indulge. And try some honey with superpowers from Manukora. Manukora is incredible, and I'm so thankful they're a partner of the show. I look forward to Manukora every morning. Make sure you click the link in our description or head to manukora.com/legalaf and try some today. So far, Michael Cohen has killed Donald Trump in testimony. He has said, as the only witness that can really say this, that Donald Trump not only knew about the Stormy Daniels payoff, he knew about the phony invoices sent by Michael Cohen. He wanted Michael to send in phony invoices about legal expenses, and he knew that was a cover for the Stormy Daniels payment, and that Donald Trump caused those items to be recorded in the books and records of the company as false statements about legal expenses paid to Michael Cohen when they were nothing of the kind. They were a repayment to Michael Cohen for the money he laid out for Stormy Daniels. Donald Trump knew it, and Donald Trump directed it, and that's the crime. Only Michael Cohen can say that, what I just said under oath, the way I just said it. And so that's been frustrating to Todd Blanche. He's also established, Michael Cohen, that this was all about the election, which is the second crime necessary to make this a felony. You need a second crime. The books and records by itself is a violation of penal code in New York, but it's a misdemeanor. But if you do it in furtherance of another crime, in this case, election interference, now you hit a felony. And Michael testified on that key point. And because when he said that, I think this is the part that's going to resonate with the jury, Donald Trump would have preferred not to have paid Stormy Daniels even after they reached a deal, and was hoping he could win the election without her so he didn't have to pay her. Had nothing to do with Melania. There's no Melania defense. I was hiding it from my family and Melania. Bullshit. He was hiding it from the American public off the heels of the Access Hollywood hot mic moment. And he had to deal with it and didn't want all these other women like Karen McDougal and others to pop up with stories about his sexcapades. That's what it was about. And it was to get him into office. David Pecker said the same thing. And of course, Michael Cohen is now what appears to be the last witness for the prosecution, has now testified. So those 2 big pillars that support the prosecution, Michael Cohen has delivered on. Donald Trump was the leader of the conspiracy, the Trump Tower conspiracy, to catch and kill stories that verse to him about sex, about porn stars, and Donald Trump and everybody at Donald Trump's direction did things like pay her through Michael Cohen, through a sham organization, an LLC that he created, a limited liability company with phony invoices to back it up, and to make sure that Michael Cohen got paid a bonus, a premium, and a gross up in order to pay his taxes on it. All at the behest of Donald Trump. Michael established that. And the other pillar, of course, Michael established is that this was election interference. And that's why Todd Blanche is getting all hot and bothered. I mean, after 9 hours of trying to chip away, and I've done cross-examinations like this that he's doing. And it can get frustrating when you're not getting the right answers, or you're in a moment where you want to signal to the jury, this is really important to me. But Todd Blanche has been so ham-fisted, so heavy-handed with it, that I don't think this is scoring points for the jury. I think Michael, the takeaway on Michael, the read by the jury from my perception of Michael, is that he's telling the truth and that he's likable about it. and that he's remembering things that you would think he would remember. And his memory fails him a bit on places where there was 9 years ago, and you wouldn't think that minutia or that level of detail he'd have a grasp of. When Todd Blanche says, "Didn't you? You didn't make that phone call to Donald Trump," because he doesn't want Michael Cohen to look the jury in the eye, which he already has, and said that Donald Trump knew about the Stormy Daniels payoff. So anything that touches on that is like the third rail, like it's electrocuting Todd Blanche, and he starts screaming for no reason, like a madman, at Michael Cohen. But I don't think that's going well. I think that just signals to the jury there's the weakness of the case. And if the prosecutors are smart, they'll point it out. Remember that time that my opponent, Mr. Blanche, for no apparent reason, just started getting very angry at Michael Cohen? That's because Michael Cohen was hurting Donald Trump, his client. That's because his testimony was convincing, and that hurt Donald Trump. And then you saw the lawyer act out. That's what I would do in closing, if I were the prosecutors in this case. But listen, we're going to continue to follow it. We have to, not just because Michael Cohen's on our network and has a podcast, but because it's news and it's at the intersection of law and politics, and it matters when a former president stands trial for crimes. As you make your decision about who you want to see back in the Oval Office, the current president or the former president, which one? We'll continue to follow it right here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch Network. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I co-anchor a show and co-founded it called Legal AF. It sits at the intersection of law and politics, so you don't have to. We curate the top 5 stories there, and we bring it to you right here, only one place, the MeidasTouch Network. If you like what I'm doing, I'm Michael Popok. Leave me a thumbs up or a comment. I've been known to comment back. Go over to my playlist on the YouTube channel for MeidasTouch and look for Michael Popok, and my entire body of work is sitting there as well. So until my next hot take, until my next podcast called Legal AF, join us and find out why we call it that. And then we have a Patreon, patreon.com/legalaf. You can learn the law at the intersection of law and politics. And until my next Patreon exclusive video, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.